everyone, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Rosina, and welcome back to Twins in Stitches. Today we have a knitting tutorial for you.
I'm going to walk you through how to make this lovely bamboo stitch scarf. It's knitted, and this is a super beginner friendly tutorial. I'll show you how to do a knit stitch, a purl stitch, how to cast on, cast off, change yarn, and how to block. So it really is the complete guide. So let's get started. So to start this scarf, you will need two things. Firstly, you'll need about 200 grams of yarn. That's what I used. And a corresponding needle size. These are circular needles. However, the same straight needles, the sort of more typical ones, are the exact same. These are just connected. So any's fine. These are my favourite needles. These ones are 4mm, and that is because the label on this yarn did say 4mm as well. I lost the label. However, do check the label because it does say the circumference and size of needles you should be using. This yarn is an acrylic blend and it's really nice blue colour. I do like it. So, to start, I'm going to find the tail end, which is here. Now, to cast on, we have to start with a slip knot. The cast on method we're going to be using today is the long tail cast on method. Personally, this is my favourite cast on method. It just makes the first row easier. However, there are different methods you can use, and do let me know if you'd like a video on those. For the slip knot, I'm going to show you how to do that now. Do remember how to do this because you will need to also make a slip knot when connecting a new ball of yarn. So for the long tail cast on method, start by measuring out yarn roughly the size of your arm doubled. So one of your arms times 2 length. Get you around here. And now I'm going to make a slip knot. To make a slip knot, you're going to grab the yarn like this and double it over. Now you're going to insert both the thumb and index finger into both the top and the bottom. Then you're going to twist your bottom left hand away from you. Again, twist the bottom left hand away from you. So make a little X. So once you do this, with the top 2 fingers, you're going to pinch the top thread and pull it through. And you're going to pull until you get a knot. And then you just pull both ends to tighten it. Again, you double the thread, both your index and thumb in between, cross, pinch the top, and pull through. One more time. Thumb and index finger in between both of them. Cross the bottom away from you and pinch from the top. Perfect, and now we're just going to tighten it. So it's roughly the circumference of our needle. So now we're going to grab our needle, grab one of your needles, and you're going to insert it inside of a slip knot. Now these are circular, so they're kind of connected. However, just get one of the needles. So we're going to pull both ends to tighten it. Now we're going to do our long tail cast on. So for the long tail cast on, the amount of stitches you cast on now has to be a multiple of 2 plus 2. And I say that, I know it's going to still be a multiple of 2. However, I do specify the plus 2 because you add 1 stitch on either side of the pattern. So here you have a multiple of 2, then you have 1 stitch on this side and 1 stitch on that side. So I personally casted on 36 stitches plus 2, so 38 stitches. So we're going to cast this on, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that step by step. So, grab the needle with your right hand here. You do this by placing your thumb at the front and your index finger on the back, and the rest just wrapped around. Then in the similar way you held the yarn before to twist, you're going to grab this with your left hand. So all of the yarn is held here with these 3 fingers, but the top part of the yarn is separated with your index finger and thumb. Okay, perfect. again, here. So what we're going to do is we are going to twist the yarn this way towards us. So before it was away, this way it's towards us. Okay, again, twist it towards, towards us. And then we're going to put the needle underneath the loop under the thumb. And that's the first motion. Okay, so twist away and bring it underneath. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring it above the yarn on the index finger. Okay, so the second motion is like this, the first motion is like that. So we're going to start, twist the yarn away from you, pick up this yarn by your thumb, so underneath the thumb, over for the index finger. And now we're going to bring it through this gap here and pull, and that's stitch 1, or stitch 2 technically. Again, away, underneath the thumb yarn, above the index yarn, and through this loop here, this gap, and pull. Perfect. Underneath thumb, above index, and then through here, this hole. Perfect. And just tighten. So underneath, above, through, and then you pull both to tighten. And we're just going to continue doing this until you get to your 38 stitches. And you can really just speed this bit up, to be honest, once you get the hang of it. Okay, so now I've casted on all my stitches. It looked like this side, all 38 stitches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the work and hold it in our left hand. So the needle we insert into the work, we hold with our right hand, and the needle that's getting the work sort of done to it is held with the left hand. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my other needle here, this needle. So the new needle is in the right hand, the one with the stitches that we're going to knit is in the left hand. So I'm going to start by inserting a purl stitch. There are two different kinds of stitches and we'll talk through both of them in knitting. The first stitch here, as we can see, we're going to start with a purl stitch. Now this is going to be the right side, and then the back will be the wrong side. So for the right side, here we have the tail end, so we're going to use not the tail end. So I'm going to insert the needle in here through the front of that first stitch, the first loop. Okay, once I've done this, I'm going to hold it all in place by holding just with my thumb here, to be fair, and hold it through the back here, and my fingers wrapped around. Now with my right hand, I'm going to grab the yarn that's connected to the ball, and I'm going to wrap it around the front needle. Perfect. Now I'm going to pull it down, pull it taut, and I'm going to bring the stitch out here. Now that is a purl stitch, and I know that was quite fast. However, when we get to the wrong side, I will show you how to do a purl stitch fully. So once we've purled the first stitch, we're going to start with a bamboo stitch, which involves knit stitches with a yarn over at first. So we're going to start, when we do a knit stitch, we bring the working yarn to the back. So we're going to start by doing a yarn over. Yarn over involves wrapping the yarn around the needle like that. Oops, just around the right needle. Yarn over. And then we're going to knit these two stitches. So we insert the right needle in through the front and to the back of the left needle. So as you can see, the right needle now is behind the left needle. And then we're going to wrap the yarn around the back needle, and we're going to slowly while holding the working yarn taut, pull it out and through. There you go. That's one stitch. And that's great. Okay, again, we don't yarn over again, but we insert the needle here through this front bit until it reaches the back of the needle. We grab the yarn, wrap it around the back loop, and we wrap it around sort of from the back around like that. And then we slowly pull the stitch out. And though that's a knit stitch basically, it's quite simple. Although, it's simple once you get the hang of it, although I know at first it can be tricky, so we'll go over it a few times. So then, now what I'm going to do for the bamboo stitch is I grab the yarn over, I insert, which is on the right needle, I insert the left needle into this yarn over, I bring the stitches to the tip of the needle, and then I hold them with my right hand and pull the yarn over the stitches, and there we've got the lovely bamboo wrap. Again, so we basically work these in groups of 2. Again, we wrap the yarn around the right needle, okay? We knit 2 stitches. You insert the right needle in through the left needle and through the back so that the right needle is behind the left needle. You grab the yarn with the right hand, wrap it around the needle, push it out and bring it out. There you go. Again, insert the right needle in through the left needle so that the right needle is behind the left needle. So this is done by putting it through here in the stitch, putting it through here and out through here. So there. And you bring the yarn over the back needle and then you slowly pull the right one out of the left one, and you take the original stitch off the left needle. And then for the bamboo stitch, we put the left needle in the yarn over here, and we bring the stitches to the edge of the needle, hold them with your finger and pull it over. Perfect. One last time, we bring the working yarn over the needle. So this is the yarn over. Then we knit 2 stitches. So again, we put it here in through the front and through the back so that the right needle is behind the left needle. Wrap the yarn around, secure it. If you don't secure it, it's not going to have very easy glide out. And you pull the right needle out, as you can see here. I just put it back in to show you. And you pull the needle, the stitch off the left needle. Final one, in through the front and out through the middle bit or the back. Wrap the yarn around the needle, secure it, push it out, and take it off the left needle. Now for the yarn over, you pull this over the 2 stitches. And that's what it looks like. And that's how you get the nice kind of bamboo looking stitches. So I'll meet you when I get to the end of the row. So now I've gotten to the end, do not forget to purl the final stitch. So if you remember how we do this, like I said, you bring the yarn forward for a purl stitch, you insert the right needle into the left needle. Oops. Yeah. You grab the yarn, you wrap it around the front needle. So as you can notice now, unlike last time, where the right needle was behind the left needle, for purl stitches, the right needle is in front of the left needle. So we insert it through the front, and then we bring the yarn around again. However, we remove it like this, and we pull it off the left needle. I'll walk through that more slowly next time. However, when we read here, whatever we did to the front, we do the opposite to the back. So knit stitches can be identified as having this sort of V shape. Here, that V there. Here. V. While purl stitches, you can tell what they are because they have the yarn overs on the back, and that they have these loops due to the yarn overs. So you just purl these ones and knit these ones. And purl stitches don't have this V like these. So this stitch here, because we purled on the front, like you remember we just did, we knit on the back side. So this is the wrong side. So we're going to insert the needle from the front to the back, grab the yarn, wrap it around the back needle, we push the right needle out and slip the stitch off the left needle. Perfect. Okay, now we bring the yarn to the front and we keep working. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do purl stitches. So we put the needle through the front of a stitch. And this time it's only purl, there's no yarn over, nothing like that. You bring the needle through the front of a stitch. You bring you can hold it with your fingers here like this with the left hand. You bring the working yarn around the front needle, okay? So in purl stitch, the right needle is in front of the left needle. And then using your left hand, your left thumb, you can push the needle out. Now when I push it out, and stitch kind of basically moves from the left to the right needle, and you slip it off the left needle. Again, in through the front of a stitch. Grab the right yarn. Grab the yarn of the right needle here, put it around the right needle, and then you push it out here and bring the stitch out. Remove it from the left needle. Again, you insert the stitch here. You insert the right needle into the left needle via the front. You wrap this yarn around the front needle, hold it tight, you push it out and bring it out. And here. And we basically do this for the rest of the row, apart from this final stitch, as you can see, which has the V, so we knit that one. So I just got to the end of this row where I purled all of these stitches. So this is the wrong side, and that was row 2, and I knit the final stitch and that very first stitch. If I flip my work over, as we can see, the bamboo stitch is forming with the loops in front of these stitches. It's looking very lovely, and we just have to continue the exact same thing. Purl the first stitch and purl the last stitch on the right side, yarn over, knit 2, pull the yarn over the 2 stitches. And you continue this until you get to your desired length for your scarf. I personally made, I'm making my scarf 2 meters long, roughly. However, that is quite long, and I do, because I like to wrap it around my neck about 3 times. So that's the good thing about making a scarf, making your own one. It can be whatever length you want. So, and as a scarf, you can try it on very easily. So yeah, so we just continue back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we get to that stage. And I'll meet you where we have to change a ball of yarn. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what to do once you get to the end of your first ball of yarn. Now, as you can see, this yarn is not enough, will not be enough to knit this next row. So I need to get my new ball of yarn. Now, I would really recommend inserting the new yarn at the beginning of a new row instead of halfway through, because halfway through makes it more difficult to weave in the ends, etc. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your new ball of yarn here, and this is the new tail end. What we're going to do is with this yarn here, the new yarn, we are going to create a slip knot as we previously did. So you should be a pro at this by now. So once we create the slip knot, I'm going to grab my original work, and as you can remember, we are starting with a knit stitch here. So I'm going to insert the needle into the stitch as if it were a knit stitch, and then I'm going to go and grab this slip knot and pull. Perfect. Now, Once I've done this, I'm going to gently bring the slip knot through the first stitch, and that basically acts as the first knit stitch. So we'll do that again. So here is the working stitch, currently with the old tail end. Here is the new stitch. We simply insert the right needle into the stitch at the beginning of a row. We then insert the slip knot as if it were a new piece of yarn, however just as a knot, and we pull it through just as any other knit stitch through the first stitch. Perfect. And then we bring the right stitch in front or through the front side of this stitch for a purl stitch. We wrap the yarn around and we pull it out. Now as you can see, the stitch might look a little bit funny, and that's just because we're going to pull both of these ends. And once you pull both of these ends, it does tighten. And we are just going to continue on the wrong side, and do be careful that you always use the new tail end instead of the old one. So I'm just going to show you how to do this. You just keep knitting, stitch in the front side, yarn over, pull over. And you're going to keep doing this till you get to the end of a row. And the front row is obviously, after going to continue the bamboo pattern, so yarn over, knit stitch, and then pull the loop over. Okay, so once the scarf has reached its desired length, we've got a lot of it so far. I've done it personally so that it wraps around my neck 2 times. I am going to show you how to cast off. Casting off is super simple. There are a few different ways to do it. If you'd like me to do a video on different ways to cast off, do let me know. However, I'm going to show you my preferred technique. So when you cast off, I personally prefer to work on the knit stitch side, just because I think it does give a more seamless cast off. However, this is totally up to you. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, we still have the first purl stitch, because this is the, sort of give it its shape, this is the pattern we've been using. So I'm going to knit, or I guess purl actually, the first purl stitch. Okay. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is, you have to realise that this casting off involves bringing stitches over other stitches. So every stitch you knit on this row, you do not want it to be super tight, because otherwise this is not going to give a very nice stretchy cast off. So what we're going to do is you knit one stitch, or you purled it, now you're going to knit the next one. So now you've got 2 stitches on your needle. Now whatever the stitch is here, you do. So anytime you see a knit stitch, you knit it. If you see a purl stitch, you purl it. Obviously we just have a purl stitch at the beginning and at the end. So I purled the first stitch and knit the second stitch. You bring stitch 1 over stitch 2. Now you do this by inserting the left needle into this first right stitch, hold the yarn taut, and you might want to hold the first stitch with your finger and slowly bring it over. Now make sure you do not do it too tight, okay? Again, and this is basically all we do for the whole thing. We knit the next stitch, and then with the left needle we go into stitch 1, have it over, bring it to the tip, and now we hold this with our finger, the second stitch of our finger, and pull stitch 1 over stitch 2. Again, knit this stitch, which is stitch 4. Now we grab the left needle and more closely put it inside through the front, right through the front there of the first stitch, and we slowly start to pull it forward, and we pull this down, or we sort of hold this down in place so that the second stitch does not glide off the needle, as it almost did. Pull it down, bring it over. Amazing. And we continue this for the whole entire row. over. Now, as you can see, we've got quite a nice cast off coming along, and you can see the V's, and I do quite like that look, which is why I do it on the knit side. So you don't want to do anything too tight, if not, you're not going to get that nice stretchy bind off. So inside, knit, which you do by doing yarn over, insert the needle into the first stitch and bring it over. Knit. Oops. Again. And you do the very same thing. Now you just continue this for the rest of the row. Work as slowly as you want. There is no rush at all. And also do not fret. If you make an issue, it is very easy to take this out. Yes. So I do really like this method because it is very easy. It's my favourite cast off method. Okay. So, and it is important to make sure the first stitch is not very tight, because if not, it's going to lead to a very rigid cast off, which is not going to be, it's going to make the knitting look quite tight on the end. Which, if that happens, you can always take it out and try it again. So this is just what I do for the rest of this row. Yarn over, hold this stitch down and pull over. That's making quite a nice cast off so far, as you can see. So we do have quite a bit left to do, so I will meet you at the end. Okay, so you've met me at the other side. I've got 2 stitches left, so I'm just going to do the same thing. Knit, bring the first stitch over the second stitch by holding it with my finger. Now the final stitch, remember what I said, you purl the purls, you knit the knit. That's basically, always do that. So we're going to bring the working yarn forward, and we're going to purl this stitch. So insert into the front of a loop, yarn over, pull out. Now, just because we're at the end, it does not mean anything is any different. We are going to continue with the cast off by bringing this one stitch here over here. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we are going to grab some scissors, and we're going to leave a tail end so that we can weave the end in, which I will show you how to do soon. So you're going to cut a bit, maybe about 15 centimeters. Cut. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull the needle up so that we make a bigger loophole here. Put your fingers inside this hole and grab the tail end and pull through. And now your work is off the needles, so you can move those aside, and you are basically done with your scarf. And this is what the cast off looks like. It looks very sort of really beautiful V's all along, and really, 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 just really lovely. So this is the whole scarf. This is the length I've decided to stop it at. It's a very, very, very long scarf, although I do like to be able to wrap it a few times. So now we'll go into the next step, which is weaving in the ends. Okay, so now we finished our scarf, almost, congratulations. We finished all the knitting, which is perfect. So I'm going to show you how to weave in ends. So the weaved in ends are the tail ends, the ones on the cast on side, cast off side, and the ones where we change ball of yarn. So I'll use this point of reference here to show how to weave in ends. Now weaving in ends is important because when you wash your garment, when you wear it multiple times, you do not want these to come undone and for your work to unravel. So I'll show you. So this is where we weaved in. So where we connected a new ball of yarn. So what you're going to need is a tapestry needle. This is a tapestry needle. It's got a large enough hole to let the thicker yarn through. So I'm going to grab one of these ends. There are two ends because I connected a ball of yarn. So once I connect this here and insert the yarn through it here, what we're going to do, as you can see, because we have been doing a knit at the end of every purl side, we have quite a nice V pattern going on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go continue the pattern and we're basically going to weave in through the outer side of the V. So grabbing this end, I'm going to put it up one V here. Then I'm going to put it up the second V. So the V can be located by looking closely and seeing there's one side, two sides. It's a V. 1, 2. 1, 2. We put it in that top loop. That's the top bit of the V. So we put the needle through there and we bring the yarn through. Now we do this for the next V and for the V after. Sometimes the V's may be a bit hard to find. That's okay. The V after and the V after. So we go up in V's. Now we're going to bring this across here. Now we're going to go down. You can really go down anyway. You can go down on the V's on this side now. I personally like to go through the pearls. So I'm going to grab this side here and I'm going to go down here. So I'm going to insert into a purl stitch. The purl stitches are just these little loops, basically all of them. So I'm just going to go down one here that I select. Just make sure it's close to the end so that you don't have like the yarn running through that throughout your whole project. And I'm going to go in the next one underneath, which is this one. You can do multiple at a time. Next one underneath, which is that one, and here. So now I'm going through 3 stitches. I might want to go for a different one. So one here. So when we're going up, we do the V's, and then going down, we can do the pearls. And weaving in is quite easy, to be honest, as long as you have some going in the opposite direction so that it does kind of secure it. So now I've gone down the pearls, I'm going to go up one pearl, and then we are nice and ready to cut that off. Cut it quite close, and then just tug it and get everything good. So that's how you weave in. I'll continue to the other one, and the cast on and cast off bits. And yeah, so that's what we'll do. And then after that, I'll show you the final stage. So as you can see, the knitting has curled. And this is because, this is due to the different stitches. It happens when you've got knit on one side, purl on the other, due to a difference in the lengths of stitches. So what we're going to do is we are going to block this. So I'm going to show you how to do that next. So once the garment is on the towel, we can see it's not fully straight. At the end of the day, this is why we block. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the pins to put it into place before it dries. So I'm going to target this corner and just place it pinned onto the towel, like so. You put it through the top, you come around, and you bring it through, and the tip that's through here, you can insert it through a different part of your garment. There. As you can see, that there is pinned in place here. Now we're going to pin this to the width we like. So I'll do the same on the exact other side. So if I like the width here, here for instance, which is what I want, how I want to have it, I'll place the pin in here, through the towel, and through the other side, making sure that if it's a little bit difficult to do sometimes for a thick towel, that I can pick up some of the knitting on the other side. There. So now we want to keep this the same width for the whole thing. So I will show you. You go in again on the next side, here, on the left, and do the exact same thing. Done. And also, to keep it at the top, really nice and sort of straight at the top, we can put in a few more pins to really show that. So for instance, I'll put one more in the middle here. So you do this down the whole entire scarf, and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, so as you can see, now I've pinned the scarf on both sides up to the top, and in the top area I've kind of bent it, but it should be fine because both sides are fully pinned on. So we'll see it when it's dry. So I just left the scarf outside in the sun for about 7 hours. You could probably do with less, that's just, I left it out for that amount of time. So now I'm just going to remove all of the pins carefully, and we should see it starting to take shape. So as we can already see, there's a lot, it's already not curling. So I'll meet you once I've taken it all out and we'll be done with the beautiful scarf. Now you know how to knit a really beautiful bamboo stitch scarf. It's a very simple design as it is a repetitive stitch throughout the whole entire scarf. I personally made mine about 2 meters long, that way I can wrap it around my neck 3 times.
So thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and share the video with someone who might want to learn how to knit. And we'll see you soon. Bye!